turn to an outbreak of a kind of tumbleweed that has been causing problems in Australia. I mentioned the name earlier. It's called hairy panic, and it's been clogging up homes in Wangaratta in Victoria. Now, Outside Source Radio spoke to a local journalist from the region.
Hairy panic is something that's really started to set in this small town of Wangaratta. It's a town of about 17,000 people. Here in Australia, it's also known as tumbleweed. It started to roll in from a paddock across the road. It's about 2 metres high, and it's really started to impact on their lives. They can't get in or out of their houses at the moment, and they're spending up to about 8 hours a day. It's almost like a full-time job picking up all of this hairy panic. It almost looks like big clouds in front of some of the houses, and some days it's worse than others. It's been happening every day since Christmas. So these poor people are having to clean their houses every single day, depending on what ways the wind's blowing. Obviously depends on how severe it gets around the houses. But yeah, you really have to sympathise for these people of Wangaratta, because it is starting to become a full-time job for them, having to clear all of this tumbleweed from their home.
Can you believe that those pictures are of tumbleweed? Well, Guy Barter is Chief Horticultural Advisor for the Royal Horticultural Society here in Britain. He says it is an unusual phenomenon.
It's to do with land management, it appears in this case. A farmer who is no doubt very unpopular locally now appears to have let the grass grow. These tumbleweeds, when they get to a certain size and they've set seed, they detach themselves at the base and become windborne. It's quite a common phenomenon. Wherever there is steppes and prairies and deserts, there's a classic example of a Russian thistle that, as you can imagine, comes from Eurasia, and it was introduced into North Dakota in about 1870 and contaminated flaxseed. And when you look at westerns now, you see tumbleweeds blowing round the scenery. That's often giant Russian thistle, and it's become a very invasive and damaging weed. And that's one of the reasons why I and the Royal Horticultural Society are so interested in weeds, because when they get out of their natural place, they can become very invasive.